Greetings, everybody, and welcome to a very special episode of 19 Turntable, where we're going to talk about our first impressions for Snoop Dogg's Bush album. I'm your host, Richard Bailey Jr., and I'm joined by Mr. Joe Hova. What's up, Joe?
What's going on?
And I'm also joined by B. Will. What's up,
man?
B?
What's up? What's up?
Hey, we're just chilling right now, taking it easy. Special shout out to all the mothers today for Mother's Day. And also a shout out to the baby mamas, whether you good or trifling, it really don't make a difference. Still get love today from me, so there you go. So we got a new Snoop album, which actually it was on iTunes early for their first listen last week. It's dropping on everything this upcoming week. I wanted to ask you guys what you think of the album. I'll have you go first, Joe, because I know you had said some stuff about old school, so let's let you go first.
The Snoop, like, I first heard, I can't even remember why I listened to the song, but Peaches and Cream, I mean, that's the first single from the album. And so I listened to it and I was like, oh my God, like, this sounds great. And I kept thinking, like, what if Snoop and Pharrell it was just them? And then we found out that, it's just them. Like, Pharrell produced the entire album for Snoop, which I think is amazing because this is going to be Snoop's, like, third wind of, like, great music in the past, I mean, Snoop's been around since 93, 92? So Snoop's been in the hip-hop game as old as my brother is. So yeah, just to see him come back with, like, this new flavor and this new sound, it's pretty amazing.
Hey, I agree with that. I'm gonna share my thoughts as well, but I'll have you go first, B. Will.
Well, I absolutely agree with that. It's amazing to me that I think it's a great move. Snoop can't really compete with the charisma of younger artists. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't have the draw of Young Thug or really anybody that's super hot right now. And
especially out of the West.
Yeah, for real. I mean, I think Kendrick, the West seems to, like, stick together more than any other coast ever. Maybe it's because they really just had the game on lock for a few years back in the 90s, and everybody just kind of links up for everything. Like, Dre will put some old people on this stuff, and Kendrick will put people from way back on his stuff, and it seems to kind of, they carry each other around like that, but, I mean, no other coast does it, but I'm glad he didn't try to ride the coattails of that into doing something that he's never done, like more something for the people like Kendrick did, or even trying to be super hot and be everybody's top 40 Snoop again, because that's not really what he does. This is what he was going to be good at, and I'm glad he went back to Pharrell because, man, Pharrell does music very well, and the vibe that him and Snoop have together every time they got together has been outstanding. So if you got somebody who you can work like that with, I'm glad he went back to him. I'm glad he did exactly where Snoop appears to be at, which is he parties. Apparently he DJs, he does shows, but he's going to make a mood. Snoop's going to put you in the mood. He's going to have that vibe, and the whole album was that vibe, and it was great. You can't compare it to you really would be comparing apples to oranges if you tried to compare it to a Kendrick or compare it to really anybody who's just spitting ridiculous, to a Cole or just making club music. But this was right in the pocket that he needed to be in, and I really liked it for that reason.
And just think about it, too. He linked up with Pharrell about 2002, 2003, and then he really Pharrell kind of really brought him back in 2005. So, like, they have that good artist-producer combination. So it's really cool to see that happen again.
Yeah, they really do. It makes me wonder, because what was that? What was Snoop's last project before this?
The Snoop Lion one.
Yeah, that was a personal trek into the depths of how high he could get. That's what that album came from. I don't really think that was like a musical choice. That was a personal, spiritual thing. But I'm glad that musically he came back to work with Pharrell and Uncle Charlie on, like, every track, which makes it even more soulful. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I just was going to add, I mean, I can't say it better than you guys have said it. I think the best line you said, B. Will, about he's staying in his own lane and making music that actually is the kind of music he should be making. He ain't trying to be young. You know,
Right.
is 43 years old now, and I think his approach to go after the 70s, you know, awesome approach. And I really think a lot of the songs on the album, of course, you say you have Charlie Wilson on there. You got to have Charlie Wilson on them tracks. Because, yeah, Peaches and Cream is awesome, but you have him throughout the album on different tracks. Great. So I have absolutely no issues with this album. My only complaint would be I'm a little upset it's only 10 songs. But aside from that, I'm cool with most of the songs on the album.
Which one didn't you like? Come on.
All right, so yeah, let's discuss that. I'm pretty sure you guys have songs you don't like and do like. I'm gonna talk about the ones that I don't like first. I do not like Edibles with T.I. Listen, I know I live in Atlanta now. T.I. rep Atlanta. That's good for T.I. But listen, son, I wasn't impressed with that particular song. Very annoying hook. What's that? Definition on a 20, whatever the hell they were saying. That shit, I mean, come on, son. That was just, some of that stuff is like a little, I mean, it's a little annoying. But I give T.I. props, I guess, because he had to put him on there. But that's probably one track I didn't like. If it was another track that I was just okay with, the I'm Your Dog song is catchy. I guess that's like a middle, kind of like it, but then kind of don't like it. It's right in the between. I like that Kendrick was on it. I like that Ross was on it, but
it's one of those that just depends on your mood.
Right.
That's it. That's good. Which tracks didn't you guys like though?
Honestly, there wasn't a song that I didn't really care for on here, which is rare for me.
Oh.
Like I listened to it when I was writing some stuff up from work earlier, so I had it playing in the background. And I was just like, man, like the only thing that I didn't like is that it does sound like one continuous song.
Right. Yeah, it does.
That kind of it's kind of stale, but I kind of like that at the same time, like because it just sounds like you could just throw this on at like a family event, like a barbecue, and just jam out the entire time.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I'm listening to it like I could throw this on with my mom and pops in the room, and they could just zone out with it and vibe to it, and everybody could just be getting along. Like at the 4th of July, we're gonna have it back in my mom's and pop's house, and I could throw that on, and they would not tell the difference unless he's saying his name, but they would hear Charlie Wilson, be like, oh, it's Charlie Wilson. They love Charlie Wilson.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
That works for them. But like you said, Joe, I guess that's a plus. If you're taking it as a conventional hip hop album, then that's a negative, because like I was thinking, every song sounding the same is never a good thing. Yeah. But in this case, that cleaned up the house on a Saturday morning music, that family reunion get together music, and that's great for it. But the one song I did not like, it's the same song you didn't like, Rich. I did not like that song with T.I., and it's just because T.I. is so washed up, man. It really happened like in a 5-year span. Nah, it's been longer than 5 years since he had just some serious. It's never like he was just the most serious lyricist. But I feel like he doesn't have any motivation to be great anymore. He did it. He was really the king of the South, and nobody was really, once somebody claims themselves to be something and nobody argues with them, they get worse from there. It's over. Jay-Z said, I'm the greatest rapper alive, and everybody like, yeah. And then he came back and it was never the same. And Kanye said, I'm a genius. Everybody was like, okay, you're fine. And he hadn't been the same, and now Tip was the king of the South, and everybody was like, okay.
You know what? No, Kanye is a genius. He is a genius at being an ass at the Grammy. And every year he makes sure he does something controversial to get people talking. So you're right about that. He is a genius. But yeah, no, I agree. Everything you said about T.I., you know, that track is. I mean, I'm not a fan of that track. Now, one thing I will say though, I do agree with everything you guys said about a lot of songs sound the same. But if I had any couple of songs that I like on this album, listen, California Roll, that song, I have replayed that song over and over again.
Yeah.
That's fire.
You know, that song and So Many Pros, because I saw the video for So Many Pros. That video was awesome. You got a whole bunch of 70s images, photos, and then, of course, he got Snoop in there from The Wire. So, man, that awesome song. But no, what was you going to say about California Roll?
It stood out. I mean, It was a catchy little song. I mean, it was dope. I think that and Pros probably stood out the most to me.
And here's the thing: nobody's mentioned that Stevie Wonder is on California Rolls.
I know, right?
Like that's why I think that's why it's so amazing is because you can hear Stevie in the background and he's playing the harmonica too. Like it's just awesome. One that actually kind of surprised me that I liked it was Runaway with Gwen Stefani. And I know that like Pharrell's doing a lot of stuff for her now. Like well again I should say. And it was interesting to hear her on that song. But I liked it. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, so would you say that he is also trying to revive her? Although, I mean, some people say she never left. Her career is still...
Oh, no. He's trying to revive her. I mean, Gwen Stefani was using the Migos flow in a song at the end of last year, so definitely trying to be revived.
Okay. All right, cool. And, like you said earlier, Peaches and Cream, great song. I actually did find out some research about the California Roll because they talked about the song. They did a track by track listing on Snoop's Vivo where they talked about a few songs on the album.
Mm-hmm.
That California Roll song actually, they said Snoop said he didn't want to rap over the song. He just when they heard the beat, he said let's get Stevie Wonder in on this. Pharrell had he had his lines in it too, and then it just all came together perfectly, I would say.
And that's the beauty about this album is it's not a traditional hip hop album.
Mm-hmm.
There's not much rapping on it. Right. It's more of like Snoop doing the singing thing, like when he did Sexual Seduction.
Mm-hmm. And it works, and that's the thing. I think when a lot of people, something's going to get hot. There's going to be a certain style of production. There's going to be whether it's the way people are putting bars together or the way people are singing on hooks. It's going to get hot at any point in time. And the people who have been around for years pretty much have a choice. They can either get on and try to do it, which usually makes them look ridiculous, or they can just go further into their own pocket. Like, you know what, all right, that's not really what I do, so I can't do it. Let me just do more of what I've done, even to a greater extent. And people will, I think, appreciate the contrast. I never understood when people who are popular try to do what's already being done. It's already being done. You don't have to be jealous that you're not getting that kind of attention. You're still you. You're a legend for your own reasons. Snoop never has to try to be to duplicate what anybody's doing. He's going to be a legend forever, just off of, Doggy Style and The Chronic forever. You don't have to do what other people are doing, and he didn't, and I'm glad.
Exactly. Agree with that 100%. So, one final question I have to ask is, now that we have established that Snoop has come back, what do you think will happen next? Is he now going to fall off again and do other stuff that try to again get with the younger crowd and try to do something else, or is he going to stay on this path? Because Pharrell cannot make every one of his albums. So what do you guys think will happen with him after this album drops?
Honestly, I wish that Pharrell would make every album for him because everything that they do is amazing. So, I don't know. Snoop tends to, he drops, lately, it seems like, in the last 10 years, he drops an album, and it's hot, and then his next one isn't as good. So it's like a little roller coaster going on. So I would imagine that the next one's probably not going to be that good.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, well, I kind of sort of think I know Snoop's at that age where his reputation pretty much carries him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's gonna make a game-changing album probably from here until the end. But what I know that people his age do and entertainers when they get to that point, they gig a lot because now they can just pull plenty of money just off of that good old Snoop reputation and do that. And I remember the show that came on ESPN about his son getting recruited to go to college to play ball. Mm-hmm. He was like, yeah, I was in Las Vegas doing DJing for a certain amount of some months. He just goes and DJs at a club. It's like when you get that kind of work, it's not like the albums are the only thing that's doing anything for him.
Yeah. If he wanted to, he could stop making music and just tour off of classics.
Right.
And people are going to pay $150 a ticket to go see him.
Right. So him having that option, I kind of think he probably won't drop another album for a while. He's going to chill. He's going to hit nightclubs with this, you know what I'm saying, get his tens of thousands of dollars to make an appearance to do this kind of material, still got classics to do with it, and he's gonna tour his ass off. He's gonna DJ somewhere, and we might get another album in like, 3-4 years. But hopefully by that time, he still isn't trying to, get to whatever's going right now. He just goes back to the foundation of who he makes the best music with, and that's always been Pharrell. So I hope that's what he does.
Hey, I agree with that 100%. As I said, the album is awesome. So yeah, I don't want him to change too much. I know you said earlier that you really can't compare an album like this to Kendrick. That is true. Although I will say I do notice that Kendrick and him, as well as Tyler, all California artists, and they all use a little bit of funk, soul, or some of those type of elements in their albums as of late. So
Yeah, they really do.
that's pretty interesting. So
Yeah. That makes, what, I think and this is kind of going back to the Kendrick a little bit, but if you heard Overly Dedicated and Section 80, it's like, yeah, they have tracks where there are natural sounds or some funk sounds in them, but I didn't expect a funk, like just a whole neo-funk soul album from anybody who's rapping right now. Like I was thinking, I didn't know he appreciated that type of music that much. Like that was amazing to me. But it's like you said, people from the West, I guess maybe that's what the foundation of that music was. When it got big in the '90s, it was all like old sounding.
That's where the G-funk sound came from.
Yeah, and it was so surprising to me. I was like, man, y'all still go back to it, because it's not like, I'm trying to think, I guess New York rappers still go back to boom bap, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like with any style, like it comes back. Like it's just like everything else. Like we're seeing clothing from the 80s that were popular starting to make a comeback now. Like everything has its cycle and it always comes back around.
Yeah. I appreciate it though.
definitely. So, any final thoughts on the album? Would you recommend people pick it up, or what do you think?
Yeah. This is definitely an album to purchase.
Most definitely. Like I said, it can get multiple uses. Some things you just play in the car when you get ready to go out to get a certain feeling. Some things you play, while you're working out. But this is going to work for multiple reasons, and you're going to need that. I definitely say it's a buy.
Yeah. I'm too old for the club. This is what I'm going to be putting on when I go out to like the lounges.
Put on that Snoop, babe. I need to get my move.
Definitely agreed. So that pretty much concludes our thoughts on Snoop Dogg's Bush album. You guys have any shout outs that you would like to give? You can go first, B. Will.
Man, no shout outs, man. Just shout out to all the people that wanted to tune in and listen. We're going to have many more coming, getting consistent.
Yes, consistency is key,
Yep.
as says Mr. Charles Singletary.
More first impressions on the way, so make sure you check that out. Also hit the I annotation at the top right up here if you want to donate to thecoalition.com.
Yeah, you said it before I could say it, Joe. Awesome job. Again, these shows will always be free, but we appreciate you guys' feedback. Definitely check out the album and let us know what you think in the comment section below.
Mm-hmm.
Stay tuned for more first impressions. That's about it. Everybody have a great Mother's Day. Great week ahead. We'll talk to you soon. Peace out.
Yo.